if you're a lender or a realtor, you're selling homes, talking to people about their mortgage, and you've said the same thing over and over, and each of those conversations are emotionally draining over time. So I got good news for you, because I'm sitting here with Omar El-Takrori, who's made multiple 7 figures. He's a personal brand expert, YouTuber. He has made a fortune helping people the way that we're about to show you. And you're gonna leave this conversation with the playbook on how you could do this today. All right, Omar, before you had like this crazy studio and you're a YouTuber, what did life look like for you, like just before that clicked and you went on to build this personal brand?
Before I started taking YouTube serious, because I've been posting on YouTube since 2007.
Okay.
But before I started showing up and teaching on YouTube, I was a creative director at a church, and just video has always been a part of my journey, from my elective in high school to my degree at UNLV, to then the job I got right after I got out of college. It was just, video was just so involved in every step of the way. And so starting my own agency is how I started doing it for people. Mm-hmm. And that was 2016. And then I started teaching in 2018. And then I didn't know that when I started teaching, I was building my personal brand, because that wasn't a thing. Yeah. I was just like, dang, a lot of people ask me questions. I should just make videos on these questions.
Were you teaching live one-on-one, or were you teaching groups, or were you teaching on YouTube?
Teaching on YouTube.
Okay.
But it was because I guess the product I was creating with my creativity, mm-hmm. for within my agency. And when I say agency, I'm not talking about I'm talking a solo agency, and sometimes I hire a help, like doing weddings and small business promos. I think people saw the way I delivered the product, the speed in which I delivered the product, whether it was photos or videos or promos or testimonials. And that's when the questions arose. And then in that time too, me and my wife helped plant a church with friends of ours. And I was put in the position to teach other people how to do what I was doing so I could grow the team. And that's when I realized the value of what I knew, even though I'm like YouTube University,
When did it click? When was there a moment that you were like, okay, life is going to be different if I go out and do this? Like, when was a moment you knew life was going to change from living maybe thinking about finances all the time to having a wealth that, changed everything for you?
In the context of business, the moment for me was when I invested in myself, and the financial figure I invested in myself was essentially double than the last salary I had. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane.
Nobody's willing to do that. I mean, very few people are willing.
I'm finding
to
out that's the case, but when I was going through my journey and I realized I hit this predicament, which was I found a person that I resonated with their methods and the way they taught stuff, and every time I would listen to him, and I'm talking about Myron Golden, mm-hmm. I was like, dude, this is my guy. And I never invested in myself at that level. And I went to one of his events, and I took his offer, and I just remember the back and forth. Even going to the event, my wife even said, hey, Omar, I think it's going to be different after this event. Like, our lives are going to change.
Oh, wow. And so you had full support at that point.
I had full support from Amanda.
Did she go with you to the event?
She didn't go with me, but she did. It was really cool because she was like, hey, let's buy the most expensive plane ticket. Let's buy the most expensive room, just because symbolically, like, things were going to change, and we're going to start with how we treat ourselves.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so different than anything I've ever heard. Because usually you hear people like
spouse objection,
right? Yeah. You deal with it probably as you're
all the time.
Yes.
But my thing is always, number one, I can't control the dynamic prior to when you hear an offer I give.
Yeah.
However, it does expose that you guys are on a journey, whether mm-hmm. you feel like it's individual or collectively. If you're married, it's collectively. If you're not married, it's individual. But maybe individually within the marriage, you're on a journey and you hit something, and now it's exposing. And growth will always expose. And so I'm glad that when I tell the story, when it was exposed for me, my wife, when I told her the price and we were going back, I have screenshots. Like, she sent me a screenshot of our bank account, and it was we had less money in the bank account than what the offer was.
Okay.
And she says, we could still figure it out. We'll make it we could take out.
How hard was it for you to put the credit card down?
Or dude, I mean, I'm thinking back to moments where I was like shaking.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then I even asked a friend who was there who took the offer in the past. I was like, dude, do I need this? And he was like, Omar, you're the GOAT, bro. Like, you're so good at what you do. And I did. Like, I had a fall. Even at this event, I'm a celebrity at this event, but I'm like, and I say celebrity as in like a lot of people knew
who you were, yeah.
But no one knew I was actually going through like a personal business transformation. And so, you know what's funny? I'll just say it out there. I was very relieved that there was a payment plan. So it was like once I heard
you pay more too, right? When you have to do a payment.
It was a little bit, I guess, yeah. And so it was like, okay, well that doesn't sting as much.
Yeah.
But when it's all said and done, I mean, here we are fast forwarding. So that was the moment.
Okay.
This was like April or June of 2023.
Yes.
And since then, I've invested over $320,000 in my own personal development.
In your personal development. Okay. So, and what is that? How many X's has that amounted to for you in terms of income?
More than, what would that be? I mean, we've done over $4.5 million in sales since then.
So crazy.
And so that's why I always like to ask the question, would you trade $300,000 for $4 million?
Yeah.
And then
all day.
And how many times would you make that trade?
All day long. Yeah.
The issue is when people come to the place where it's time to have that moment. This is why my friends say the transformation comes in the transaction. Most of the work happened when I just swiped the card.
Was it, okay, it's a weird thing that happens because I've been in your shoes where I had to swipe the card. But it's a weird thing, like, it's like, but then once it swipes, I'm like committed. It's done.
Yes.
And there's no looking back at that point, right? You're locked, and then it's up to you to make the change.
Right.
From a personal brand, people already knew who you were, right? But what did this do for your personal brand in terms of the strength of what you believed you were building and who you were as an individual to the masses on YouTube or, people you wanted to coach?
I mean, what it did was it gave me the ability to talk the way I just talked for the last 5 minutes. Like, I'm not this person without those moments, And so I would say, and we see it all the time, we see people who have a brand, or we can call it an audience, but can't really convert it or turn that into money. But the reality is because you can have a personal brand, but you can lack skills, like the skill of sales, skill of communication. Like, you can build a personal brand if you're great at creating content, but this is why people who have large audiences have a hard time making money, and you see people with small audiences make millions. And it's really that skill, which I think is what we can talk about, because having a brand does give you the trust to get in front of somebody and for somebody to give you the time, but being able to sell and close and follow through is a whole nother skill set.
Well, so did you have to take specific courses throughout the way that you were like, okay, this is how you convert from a sales perspective, or were you just naturally born, you knew how to convert in sales?
No, I don't believe anyone's a natural salesman.
Okay, so you learned.
I learned it through watching other people do it.
Okay.
I learned it by unpacking how I was sold. Like
reverse engineering the whole thing.
How did I get there?
Yeah.
Because I did get there, and in many ways that was orchestrated. And then it was also, I was reading the books, listening to the podcasts, me buying more. Like, one of the best salesmen and the best saleswomen are great buyers. When you become a good buyer, you become great at sales, because you understand that if you hear what you need to hear for the problem you need to be solved, the answer should always be yes. But then that's the problem, is most people are so close and tight-knit to the product they're creating or the podcast they have, and then it's so hard to deliver it from their point of view or say it in a way that the people you're wanting to sell to need to hear it. But a lot of that came from those things, but then also trial and error. Like, I remember Art's my witness, like, there was 3 webinars I did where I had the brand to get 400, 500 people organically on a Zoom call, and then 0 people buy.
Okay, wait. So how many times did that happen And why didn't you just quit after that? I mean, because most people, if you can get that many people on, but you can't convert, would stop doing it.
Oh man, the emotional roller coaster of it all.
Yeah.
I remember creating a course, built the anticipation, launched it, no one bought. Months later, put out a webinar, a web class, conducted it, gave an offer, no one bought. Spoke at an event, flew to San Diego, speak to this event, thought I had a great offer, gave it, no one moved. Just awkwardness. And to answer your question, why did I not quit? I think it's just because I knew I was just missing something. Because I'm seeing people I know do it. What am I missing? And the answer is I'm not shifting beliefs. That was the biggest reason why I wasn't converting. I was too concerned with the information I was sharing rather than just getting the person to believe within themselves that they can do this. So this is why I'm very, I don't gatekeep information, but I strategically know contextually what should be shared for the objective of whatever needs to happen, if that makes sense. So tomorrow I'm speaking at an event. Like, I'm considering the context that the people are there in, and I'm going to share the information I believe is best. Now, I've learned that as many times, like tactics, like we talked through tactics based before we hit record on this podcast, and you could see how it can just spiral when we just start getting into the nitty gritty of stuff.
It's never ending.
And is that going to prohibit you from taking action? It might if we start going down that path. So why don't we back it up and talk more like big picture, more mind shift? You know, like I even think in essence, your podcast can grow and get more views with you doing nothing to the shot. Like, let's just go there.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So now we're.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah. Okay, good. As you like
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, no,
when we were talking. Yeah,
because it's kind of same.
It's all about content.
It's the strategy.
Yes.
It's the packaging. It's the same thing when it comes to presenting in front of people. Yeah.
Well, so I'm going to share a story with you that's going to get to my next question, if that's okay. So, we were talking about what I did, but early in, like a few years back, I was lied to by somebody that I worked for about a financial model that they didn't tell me about. It was like, this is all behind the scenes. We don't want you to know about it. And I realized that I had left like millions of dollars on the table because somebody was gatekeeping information from me. And so once I found out about it, I made enough noise and they ended up just promoting me because they felt like, we'd held this guy back. I went through this whole thing, but then when I got promoted, I saw behind the curtain of how the business is really run. And I've been in this business for 20 years. I didn't know. And so this year, last year, I found myself talking to people saying the same thing over and over and over again about this financial model because I wanted to educate people, but I was doing it one-to-one, just one-on-one. And what I realized is they just look at me with this glazed look on their eye because they didn't really understand how I was packaging the information. And so I wanted to take a step back and repackage it with an education piece that I can educate the industry on this model that most people don't know about, and it's on purpose. Because what happens if they're on the model, the company makes less and the originator makes more. And most originators do not understand this, right? So I started building a webinar to educate people. And the reason I did it is because I kept saying the same thing over and over in a way that nobody really understands. So I figured if I could take this segment of people and educate them, and then if they decide they want to go to the next round, then they can opt in to the next step of this, right? And I can do a personal one-on-one with them. What I've done there is I've gone from one-to-one to one-to-many. And it's a concept that I've learned by watching you, by being in the mastermind with Neil. But can we talk about that? Because I think your entire model started with that. Yeah. If I'm understanding
100.
correctly, right?
I would say, I think it's safe to say that everything I do in business is one-to-many.
Okay.
And if it can't be, I have to really debate whether it's worth doing. Because a one-to-many business model has the effect of, if I'm going to do something, can I do this one thing and then just it can be done repeatedly? So that's why it's worth shooting podcasts, because even this one-on-one connection is an opportunity to go one-to-many. You got art here, and then you guys are going to clip this up. It's going to go places. So I know that's a lot. That's well worth my time. And I'm not trying to make myself sound arrogant, but it's just that's how that's how my brain's working. So, and then how about I just break up how we just at this point we've made over $500,000 last week.
Say that again.
I made over $500,000 last week, and I'm going to back up and just tell you how we got there.
Okay, because I think everybody who's listening to this would love to know exactly how you did that.
So, step one, I have a consistent content schedule or calendar. I like to call it the content to cash calendar. It's posting one long form video a week on YouTube, and then I show up about 5 days a week on the feed of Instagram, and then 3 to 5 times a story on a day.
Okay,
that's the content to cash calendar. And I put most of my energy in that long form video, because that long form video then gets cut up and becomes the short form content, and then we promote that, and then that turns into emails. So everything feeds from the YouTube channel.
Leveraging that one long form.
Leveraging the one long form.
To the short form, to the stories, to even the newsletter.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we invite people into a signature presentation. Other people call it a webinar. Other people call it a masterclass. It's called the 5 costly mistakes entrepreneurs make when building their personal brand. I've been running that signature presentation for now close to 2 years. And what I sell on the back end of that presentation is a $200 offer.
Okay.
But I will say we've gotten into running ads. So we got 4,000 people to sign up. We did it 2 times back to back. And we got a little over 4,500 people signed up for either of those, and they show up to those calls. And then we sold about 300 people the next step. Now that number seems like a big gap, but then there's show up rates, there's people that stay on, and then people that leave at the time of the offer, and then the follow up and stuff. So based on how much people showed up, I'd say a little over 1,000 split between the 2 weeks showed up, and then we sold 300 tickets to the challenge, is what it's called, the Content to Cash Challenge. It's a 5-day live coaching experience. Okay. Where I feel like it's the highest value. It's the dumbest offer I sell. Like truly. Like when I think about $200 gets you an hour of Q&A every day for 5 days, and then an hour of teaching for 5 days. Okay. And truly it's a high value experience. And then at the end of that, I invite that group of people, if they want to work with me for a year, they could be a part of my inner circle. Then you bring them into the bigger, is that your biggest ticket item? That's $25,000 right now. Okay. And it always slowly goes up as we get people faster results, as it gets, I'm a quality guy at every level, from the free content all the way to the fulfillment side of things. And so I'm slow to scale because I care about my reputation. AKA why you can't find anything bad about me, or people love Omar, but it's because I genuinely care. But that's literally, but I'm telling you, every step of the way, every one of those efforts are in the attempt that I'm not talking to one individual. Even my main offer is not one-on-one. Now, I understand that this could be, if you have people in the real estate space, it might be a little bit different, but it's just barely a little bit different. Because if I'm a realtor, I still should have a signature presentation. 100%. Because what it does is it creates, all your signature presentation really should do is open up the belief and create the feeling in the person that they can do this, period. So just kill limiting beliefs. And I mean, if you've been in any industry long enough, you should be able to identify those limiting beliefs, And I feel like with home ownership, it's cash on hand, money is, like being able to have enough money, not feeling tied down. It never happened for my family. There's nobody I know in my own personal family, so how can I do it? I don't make enough money. I might have to be locked down. I have to fix my home. Like there are just these, and it's like all those things, you have a case as to why that's not true. And the way you've just built a YouTube channel just on all of those objections. Oh, 100. Right. And the reality is, if you've been in your space long enough, you have stories and real life examples of people who actually broke that belief. Yeah. That's why it's so important that if you're listening to this or if you're watching this, that if you're a person that has a service-based business in any capacity, start documenting the stories of people that you help. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm just going to hand it to you on a platter. Create a Google Slides presentation. You're not going to ever present this. This is for you and your arsenal. You're going to put a picture of that family or put a picture of that couple or put a picture of that millennial. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to put the one line, like, bought a home with zero money down, sold an investment property without having a 1031 exchange, mm-hmm. which I found is possible if you moved out of a primary residence, turned into I'm just like learning stuff. And I'm like, dude, see, I'm like,
there's so many loopholes.
There's so many, and we call them loopholes, but really they're playing by the rules.
They're playing by the rules, but they're made for people. You got to find them.
You got to find them. Yeah. So, that's funny. The word loophole, this is just like a tangent. The word loophole and dumb it down are incorrectly used. Like, okay, so loophole is like, sounds sneaky. Okay. When it's like, no, there's documentation somewhere so that we can do that. It's just not shared information, so we call it a loophole. But when I hear that, like, to dumb it down, no, you're actually making it more smarter. Like, we say we're saying it, we're dumbing it down, but no, people are going to feel way more smart after they hear it this way. Yeah. But it's just funny how we use these terms. But this is why, like, I'm a words guy, and I'm like, when did we adopt this? Like, why do we say these things? You know, like, but kind of back to that, that Google Doc or that Google Slides presentation. So, and then when you present, you can just copy paste that slide over, but it also allows you to not forget. Like, I think about Yi Wei. She has 30 subscribers. She uploaded 9 videos to YouTube and got a $30,000 client. I think about LeCedric. He uploaded 6 podcasts, got a DM on Instagram, closed a 10K client. Wow. I'm thinking about Hattie, who joined the Inner Circle, did a paid challenge, and had a $31,000 day. Like, I'm thinking about Alan Gonzalez, who's worked his butt off in the loan industry, and in November had his first $100,000 month, and he said, I don't know if I've worked less hard to achieve that $100,000. That, like, to make more doesn't mean you need to work more. Yeah. That's breaking a belief. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's just good for everybody, because it's going to help you when you do these presentations, that you're just showing people that look like the people you're talking to. And then you create in them the feeling that they can do this. And my friend Eileen Wilder, she'll say, people buy things for one reason and one reason only, or people do things for one reason and one reason only, and that's because they feel like it. So we should focus on the feeling.
Make them feel like it, yeah.
That's it.
Feel good about
it. Nothing else matters, because if they don't feel like it, then we didn't do our job.
Well, you're laying down the groundwork for why this strategy works. But I also got to say, like, I think being a good human is one of the things, and I want to share this with you. And you probably remember this, but I kind of ran into you at a mastermind at Forward, and you were with a group of guys, and I came in, and we all kind of started talking, and I looked over at you, and I was like, I think I interrupted what you guys were saying, so I apologize. And I was like, oh, are you Omar? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, hey man, can you check out this thumbnail for me? You're like, yeah, increase this, increase that, change the name to that. And you're like, hey man, I'll fly down and I'll help you out. You were like really gracious, almost to the point that I was uncomfortable by it. Like, I was like, I don't know if I should take this guy up on it. So I was like, no man, I'll just go to you, whatever. But the fact that we're here is pretty dope. It just, the fact that you took time out of your day. But I think that's why you're so successful, because I do think you lead with being just really kind and generous with the information. And therefore people are willing to, trust you in that. I do see so many people, if I'm hearing you right, if you have a personal brand, and I think everybody has a personal brand, whether they
100
believe it or not, but if you're being intentional about your personal brand, then investing in yourself is probably the first step in really, building that, right? And understanding, like, how to communicate, be a better communicator, how to present information. And then we're coming back to, now how do we get this one-to-many, thing done? So I was talking to somebody before our podcast, and they're like my target market. of who I'd want to listen to this podcast, the one that we're doing right now. And I was like, okay, so you're doing a mastermind, but you've never done a webinar. Tell me why you've never done a webinar. Because you have the information, it's working in masterminds, you're able to fill the room, but why wouldn't you go this route? And like, honestly, I just don't know the mechanics of it. Like, I don't know. Is it Zoom?
Yep.
Where do I get people to register? Like, they didn't understand the steps. What do you say to somebody like that that's stuck because they're, you were saying we can swirl on the tactics, but that's truly the reason most people that I know won't do it.
I always like to say doing leads to discovery. Of course you don't know what to do because you haven't done it. So don't do it because you don't know how to do it. Do it because you don't know how to do it.
That's it.
So
that's the bar right there.
To answer the question, what do I use? Use Zoom.
Yeah.
And but don't you want, great, you use Luma.com.
Yeah.
But what about like automation? Okay, if you want to go that route, go high level.
Yeah.
It's funny because overthinking usually paralyzes people, but I like to say overthinking always underestimates the benefits of taking action. So we think that it's this mountain that we need to climb, when reality the benefits of taking action always outweigh what you're trying to conjure up in your mind as far as how this is going to pan out. Let me tell. Can I tell this person, and you could send them this clip?
Yes,
whatever this person.
Yeah.
Here's one reason why you need to go and do this, because at some point you can perfect it. And we've ran automated webinars and automated challenges, and we've been able to leverage that. And in December, we made over $400,000 with an automated.
You weren't even
presentation.
there.
I wasn't even there.
You're getting the
the team was in the chat just responding to people. I was watching the screen because I was breaking.
You wanted to be there, right?
Discovering something. Yes. I was like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
There's no way this is going to work.
Were you worried about your brand? Was there a piece of you like,
oh yeah, there's a part of that, but then every little step, and here's, if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, or you're committed to growing, you have to give yourself the permission that whatever you're doing is the reason for growth. It's not the outcome. So and this is why it's important to invest in yourself, because I actually paid Russell Brunson to join his mastermind, which is like $50,000. And
when did you recently?
This was like September.
Okay.
And he told me to run this play. And I'm like, well, I paid him too much money to like not do something he says. Yeah. I've just been kind of the guy that's just like, I'm going to do it if that's what they think. Yeah. And so we do it, everything that you can think of, like, but what if people know that it's not recorded? What if like all that stuff happened, but the goal was to just find out. So thankfully we did it, and now we found out. Now who gets to benefit? The person that takes action gets to benefit. And if you keep prolonging something you're supposed to do, what you're prolonging is you're prolonging the benefits. Because the sooner you take action, I'll say the sooner you get to enjoy the benefits or the data. So I do it for the data. The goal to do it is not for any other reason. It's just to find out where this sign-up page is supposed to be and find out what camera you should use. We do this with everything in life. No one knows everything you need to know before you step out to do something for the first time. But it's a coping mechanism to stay in your comfort level or comfort zone.
I think so, 100%.
Yeah. And if people can just be more self-aware, I think a lot of business owners lack self-awareness, and it's because they will identify that, and then they lack the self-awareness to know they should actually lean in, and they pull back. And then that's where you stay safe, and that's why you'll make the same amount of money, and everything else will everything else will be safe and stay the same. That's why, I mean, there's that funny quote. It's like, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you say the same thing twice, you sound smarter. It's like, broke is broke. What? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's what I would tell your friend. I would be like, the point of trying is so you can figure all that out.
It's super insightful. Yeah, that's it. Well, you have these ways to unlock things for people. Like I used to say, I don't like to get into masterminds. I don't want to pay $25,000 to be in a mastermind because I just don't learn that way. I want to be one-to-one. Like I wanted to hire somebody to be a one-on-one coach for me. And what did you say to that when somebody tells you, I don't want to be in the room like that?
It literally happened last week. This girl was like, hey, if you have over 100 and something people, how do I get it personalized? And I said, you decide what you personally get out of this. And then I asked the question, who here this week got personal breakthroughs in this group setting? Mm-hmm. And so the reality is that could potentially be an objection surrounding the concept that you think life change happens in a confined one-on-one context. Now, I understand that there is spaces and places for that thing, therapy, but and all that stuff. I interviewed my therapist and Amanda, therapist, and it's a department podcast. Let's go.
You did it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
But, and now what? Will people benefit from my, and in essence, was that one-on-one? I think so. I mean, it's 2-on-1, but you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that whole philosophy, it could be broken. And anything could be fought for though. Because if you're on the one-on-one angle, you could fight for you can't beat the intimacy than one-on-one,
But I think some of those one-to-manys usually can lead to a one-on-one.
100.
You've had a lot of one-on-one time probably with a lot of your students, right? Because of that?
Well, there's one-on-one time on the calls.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
There's one-on-one time when we go to dinner as a group and you sit next to me and we talk through something. And what's really cool is the benefit too of just like thinking this way and like starting to and it's really just going to give you the freedom because you can do 10 calls or you can tell 10 people that you're going to do this one call. And then now you don't have to do 10 calls.
Yeah.
And then you get to find who's serious and who's not. Cause like the 10 calls one-on-one could have wasted your time. But I believe if you have this model in your business, one-on-one becomes uber premium. Mm-hmm. It's only for a special selected few. So I'm not even saying like eliminate it. There's a guy in the program. His name's Matt. He came to me. He's a real estate professional wealth coach. Mm-hmm. He specifically specializes in like realtors and loan officers and stuff. And he had a one-on-one coaching business, and he would do Monday through Thursday from 8 to 4, just one-on-one calls. Oof. And those people paid him a few $1,000s a month, whatever. And then he came into the program, and I mean, the first conversation, I was like, your one-on-one thing is now group. Tell everybody, and obviously everything comes up. But like, what about? I said, you can offer that you will continue one-on-ones at this rate, but we're going to be moving and will you lose some, but you might gain some. But ultimately, with the one resource we won't get back more of, what did Matt get most of?
Time.
He got time back. So now he only works 1 day a week. And the reality is it's helped his marriage. It's helped his mental. Mm-hmm. And then guess what? It's also helped his ability to serve.
Because he's serving more people.
Not even because you're serving more people, because you're not drained.
Because every conversation that you have one-on-one is emotionally draining, depending on how many people you allow to pull from it, right? So
I would think it's draining in many cases because you're repeating yourself.
You're repeating yourself. You lose authenticity. Like no matter how bad I want to go into that, if I'm saying the same thing over and over, it will become monotonous. And I will lose something in that. But what you said that also unlocked it for me as a student was, have you ever been in a room where somebody asked a question that you wanted to know? And that happens to me a lot. And that unlocked it for me to forever be okay as a student in a one-to-many situation, which is why I'm excited about it, right? So, all right, I want to switch gears real quick. Because I think each of these discussions that we're having, from personal branding to one-to-many to the mechanics, all kind of, are in sync, and I can go deep on all of them. But this last one I think is important because I heard you talk about this, And I wanted to give everybody a really high level on what's important in each of these when you're building this. So you talk about frameworks, and I think frameworks are really important for every discussion that people go into, every presentation. And when I notice somebody doesn't have one, I'm almost pissed about it because I work in a corporate environment. People who are presenting should never be presenting.
Yeah.
But how do you explain frameworks to somebody that doesn't understand them?
Yeah. Well, I'll say anyone you love listening, watching, consuming, reading, that you would consider as like an expert or thought leader, I would probably say the only thing that makes them an expert or a thought leader is they have frameworks.
There you go. Yeah.
And what is a framework? A framework is essentially your way of saying something. Mm-hmm. That's like that's as simple as I'll boil it down. Now, it may include shapes, drawing. Mm-hmm. It may include listicles, 3, 5, 7. It may include alliteration. It may include you having a name. This is what what I'm talking about is I'm talking about intellectual property. I think when I say intellectual property, what comes to mind is invisible real estate. Mm-hmm. But you can actually sell intellectual property. That's why we buy books. Books aren't intellectual property. It's why we join or listen to the podcast. That's intellectual property. But when you create frameworks, formulas, systems, and you communicate it from that way, you just sound smarter. But that's not why you do it. You do it so they can receive it. And so anytime people ask me questions specifically about something, there's a chance that I have a framework around it because I've answered the question so many times.
Yeah, you know how they're going to receive it. Mm-hmm. So you kind of understand, why are they asking me this question? Let me frame this in a way that they're going to receive it and understand it.
Yeah. So like, for instance, if somebody's like, dude, Omar, my YouTube channel sucks. I don't know, how do I win on YouTube? And I'll ask them, do you understand like YouTube packaging? They're like, no. I was like, well, YouTube works in 3s. I call it the YouTube Trinity. It's title, thumbnail, first 30. If you don't have those things decided, don't shoot the video. Well, I've been shooting videos and then trying to figure it out. I was like, you're already step number 1 is wrong. Mm-hmm. So what's the title? The title should read like an article headline. The title should help the algorithm. I like to say the title is for the algorithm. The thumbnail is for the audience. Second is the thumbnail. The thumbnail should have no more than 3 things on it. Big face, big phrase. And the phrase should connect to the audience, like psychologically. And then the first 30 seconds, have an enrolling question. Mm-hmm. My YouTube intro framework, clarity, comprehension, credibility. If you check the boxes of those 3 things, there's a high likelihood that people are going to stay and watch the rest of your video. And this is why I don't need to watch your whole YouTube video. I just need to look at your thumbnail, your title, and listen to your first 30 seconds, and I'll tell you whether that video is going to be successful or not. But that was kind of meta. It's a teaching moment, but I just handed YouTube masterclass in 35 seconds.
35 seconds, yeah.
So notice how, dang, I never thought of it that way. Oh, that sounds way easy. I can do that.
Yeah.
But you've been doing YouTube, but you've been doing it wrong. So this is the power of frameworks. And I if you want to make a lot of money or be seen as an industry leader, take the time to create this stuff. So I love leveraging my podcast to be the place where I can test frameworks. And here's a little like nugget. I'll just tell you like literally right now. I'm finding that the podcasts I do where I share frameworks perform really well. Like not just the list of things, mm-hmm. but it's putting it in a way that is easy to digest. So like there's one where our best performing podcast in the last couple of months has been the new way to make money online. And I essentially said people aren't buying information. They're buying one of these things. And I said it's a topic. It's AA topic and it's CC. And these are things that people buy. And it's acceleration, it's accommodation, it's transformation, it's
Opportunity.
Organization.
Organization.
So,
okay.
but notice how I'm like, they have all the same suffix. It's easy to follow along. But anytime I do a podcast, I created an online business blueprint framework on the way here. And there's 3 things that every online business that I help people walk through, and it's unlock infinite content, like unpacking how you can show up consistently. Second is ushering into intimate conversion events. And then third is uncovering your irresistible offer. But notice, unlock infinite content, UIC, usher into intimate conversations, UIC, uncover irresistible core offers, UIC. All I'm doing is sitting down and writing, and I'm just taking the time. You know, and that's what most people aren't willing to do, the thinking work. And so the audience is reserved for the person that just takes a moment to position or package something in a way that is just more easily digestible.
Yeah, when you talked about the YouTube thing, when you said Trinity, then I was like, all right, there's 3. Give them to me. I'll remember that because that's easy to remember. And that's what shifted. That framework shifts everything. Now people remember it. They're going to remember that. And they may, you know, it makes learning so much easier because you gave it a thought. You gave it some thought.
And it's because, let me tell you, the service, this is not to self-serve. This is to serve. The reason why this works is because our brain is looking for the least path of resistance. And so if you know that's how human nature functions, then this would allow for the brain. This is why your brain just got happy when I shared that. It's because I made it seem more easy. It's still the same feat. It's still the same activity.
Yes.
But if it seems easy in your mind, you're more likely to do something, you know?
That's a framework in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. So, all right. So Omar, for anyone who's listening, where do they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I would highly, I'm a fan of my own podcast.
Okay.
Doesn't make me a narcissist. That's just because I really enjoy it.
It's good.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
And so I like to think of my conversations like course conversations. It truly is a masterclass. The consistent comment I get is, I need to watch this again. Dude, I'm going to watch this again. I literally saw a comment on last week's podcast. Bro, she said, I'm going to watch this every day until it sticks. That's the kind of, because I put so much effort into the podcast we have. It's called The Department with Omar El-Takrori. And then, I mean, dude, if you want, I can put a link up to that Content to Cash challenge I do from time to time. And it really is, it's like a crazy value exchange community. We do calls. But I break down, essentially hand on a platter, my business model in 5 days. Yeah.
And you've seen wild success from it.
Dude, literally last week I found out, well, I've seen, yes, personally for me, but I've seen wild success for people who've taken it. Last week somebody did one of the homework for the challenge, and she closed like $8,000 that day. And I bet that blessed me. I love it. I love having the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Like it was $200 to get in.
Yeah.
And you
but that's
made
the best way. Yeah.
And honestly, that's why it's working.
Yes.
Is as long as I'm adding more value to people's life, I'll be taken care of and everything will be okay. Like I'm not a hard sales guy. I realize that, if you do the work to become the person, there are people who will follow and then they'll start to do the work, and then they'll have people that they serve. It's like just a big old MLM.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
We're gonna no, but
I actually had to tell Art about MLMs. He's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's just a mark of a formula of marketing a product or service." But
it just has such a negative, bad rap on that.
Yeah.
But dude, no, I mean the fact that you came in, I know you have a lot going on. I really appreciate it.
Do it again.
Yeah, I would love to have you as a regular. Anytime you're in Phoenix, man, 100. And if I'm there, I would love 100. To, but we'll keep making this better. And I think that your feedback from this is great. I learned so much myself being able to sit down with you. And it's not often we get to just shut off our phones and be in an hour-long conversation with somebody, and you gave me that. So thank you.